Hi, and welcome to the second part of our video clip series, which is entitled The Secrets of Literary Hebrew. We'll demonstrate the Moses method, where the importance of knowing the roots and patterns for learning written literary language. You'll be able to build new words on your own and understand words that you've never come across, and you'll attain a much better command of Hebrew more quickly. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you who sent comments about the first session. We received a lot of feedback and questions and have tried to respond to all of them. If you haven't yet seen the first video clip, in which I explain why learning the roots and patterns is the right way to learn the written language, I recommend that you watch it now before continuing, because I will be referring to it today as well. We received feedback from many students who said that the idea of learning through the patterns appealed to them. Now they know that learning Hebrew can be easy and that it's like a game you play with patterns and roots. Even though most of the patterns have a meaning, it's important that students go back and examine how the root fits into the pattern that was made for it. Roots and patterns should be learned at the same time. Even the best teacher in the world won't succeed if his or her students don't review the material and understand the principles of effective learning. Of the questions we received, 2 were asked a number of times. How does one start studying using this method, and what tools are needed in order to succeed? In this part of the video clip series, I'll answer those questions and talk about the essential tools needed for mastering this method. First of all, we'll start with a brief explanation about the basic tools of the Moses method, roots and patterns. Usually when I talk about roots and patterns, English speakers ask me, "What's that?" To put it simply, a root is the raw material of a word, and it usually comes in the form of 3 consonants. Imagine a triangle, which is the pattern where we put the 3-letter root. Let's take the root pei taf chet and put it into the verb pattern called pa'al in the past tense. What we get is the word patach. Now let's take the same root and put it into the work tools noun pattern, and what we get is the word mafteach, which means key. In less than a minute, we learned 2 new words that are based on the same root, pei taf chet, opened and key. In English, there's no obvious connection between the 2 words, and each has to be learned separately. In Hebrew, once you know the pattern, the connection is clear. After we learn the root and its meaning, it's easier to understand the meaning of the words connected to that root, and it's easier to write the word without spelling mistakes, because we know what root it comes from. And for another example, let's take the root ayin shin hey and put it into the pa'al verb pattern in the present tense. What we get is the verb oseh. Now let's take the same root and put it into the occupations noun pattern, and we'll get the word ta'asiyan, which means manufacturer. Once again, we easily obtain 2 words from the same root by putting the root into different patterns. Someone studying English has to learn 2 totally separate words, does and manufacturer, whereas in Hebrew, it's only necessary to know the occupations pattern in order to understand the meaning. This usually begins to register with students after seeing 2 examples, and based on their questions, it's clear they get the idea. Just a minute, they ask. If I learn the patterns, are you saying that I'll understand the meaning of a new word better than if I open a dictionary, and that I'll finally have no spelling mistakes? And the answer is yes. With the Moses method, that's exactly the name of the game. Hebrew is built in such a way that everything is organized for learning it. Don't you agree it's a brilliant idea? Let's take one last example so you can see just how easy it is. If we take the root dalid resh gimel and put it into the piel pattern in the past tense, we'll get the word direg. Now let's take the same root and put it into the places noun pattern, and we'll receive the word madrega. In English, the first word is ranked and the second is stairs, with no obvious connection between them. You see, the more patterns we use in our game, the more fun it is. So what's the conclusion? With the Moses method, learning Hebrew this way is child's play. The written language helps us with the spoken language, and not the other way around. So let's improve our written language skills, and by doing so, also our spoken language. Just like I said, learning the roots helps us understand the meaning of verbs and nouns, as well as adjectives in the different patterns. In the next part of the series, will explain all the important things you need for learning literary Hebrew, so you'll know exactly what to focus on in order to make the process quicker and more effective. In the meantime, you can download a self-check sheet here to test your level of knowledge. You can send it to us and receive our assessment of your Hebrew level. So there's something to look forward to, and we'll see each other at the next session on the Moses Method. Below you can leave feedback and questions related to the material we reviewed today, and we promise to respond to all of them personally. See you soon.